Hello, and thanks for tuning in. And if you're new to the channel, here's a quick update. So I've taken my year 2000 9C Beetle and done some customizing. So currently on the channel, I've already installed the 3.6 VR6 engine, which came from an R36 Passat. I've installed the front discs and calipers, which also came from an R36 Passat, and installed some 19-inch rims from a BMW. Now, shifting to this episode, I'm going to be finishing off the rear brakes by installing the calipers and discs, finishing off the radiator fan brackets, both the primary and secondary, showing you guys some plastic welding and some body finishing on plastic, and sharing with you guys my sunny little surprise. So as always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and let's do this. So the brake caliper brackets arrived yesterday, cut out as per my design. Cuts are nice and sharp, as you can see there. Looks really good. I'll fit it onto the Beetle now. So just a note for interest, here's the caliper that goes on the right rear of the Skoda. Now you'll notice that that's the entry point for the cable and that's the lever arm. And the Skodas actually fit towards the front. Now if I rotate this, you'll see that the cable is coming from the top. So I've decided to just swap the right for left, so that when you fit the caliper on the right rear, the entrance point is at the bottom, which is the same location as the Beetle. So here's all the parts I'm going to be fitting to the rear brakes. As you can see here, the bracket the adapter bracket to mount the calipers, and a couple of bolts, the tools, rear caliper, caliper carrier, and the disc itself. So I'm just temporarily locating the carrier for now, because these bolts need to be cut down, but I just want to make sure that I've got the correct number of shims when I put the disc in. And again, because I don't have the correct color, I'm just going to use this clamp for now like I did before. I've just managed to cut the overhanging bolts off in place. So after a bit of mucking about shimming the adapter, I finally got the carrier to sit centered to the disc. So you can see here, it's centered, top and bottom. This is a fit up, so I'm not going to bother lubricating anything, dry fit as you call it. Okay, so the rear caliper's on. There is an issue with the handbrake portion of the caliper. So I need to make a new bracket to hold the actual cable, because the Beetle cable is quite short in this situation. I'm not going to resolve that now. I'll wait till the suspension is narrowed so that I can actually locate this properly. But as far as the caliper goes, you can see it's in there nicely and all sorted. So just recapping where I left off in part 6, the arms for the secondary fan have been completed. I'm now going to move on to finish fabrication of the entire bracket. Off camera, and as you can see here, I made the cross braces that go between the arms and tack welded it together. And here is the final product, fully welded and all the welds ground down smooth, with the holes drilled and necessary cutouts made. I'm now going to do a final test fit of the bracket to the fan itself. So with the primary fan as close as possible to the radiator, I need about 10 mils to be made in spaces to make this work. So I'm going to fabricate them up using two 5mm thick plates. So here are the 5mm thick spacer plates. I've made 6 in total as there are 3 bolts. Now putting the spacers in place, you'll see that there's just not much thread left for the bolt. So I'm going to have to replace all the 3 bolts in order to give me enough thread to fit into the bracket. Now the original fan motor bolts are actually welded in place, so I'm going to have to use a cutting wheel just to get rid of them so I can replace them with longer bolts. Now, as you can see here, the fan is now bolted in place with the spacers. I'm just going to place it in its actual location. So with the bracket in place, I can feel that the fan is rubbing on the shroud. So I'm going to have to cut away the shroud to clear the fan. So for those who haven't guessed already, here's my sunny surprise. It's a sunroof. So this is a factory original sunroof from a similar model year as my car. It's a complete unit, so which is great. So it'll just slot in. Unfortunately, I was unable to get the roof skin because the guy was using the body to build a beach buggy. So hopefully I can get a body skin by the time I'm ready to start metalwork on this car. Otherwise, I'll just end up building the support frame myself. This is the engine cover that I started working on in the last episode, and this is some donor material from an old bumper that I'm going to use. So to fill this hole, the method is very similar to metal bodywork. I'm just going to mark out this material and cut it out in the same size as the hole I need to patch. To help give tensile strength to the joints, I'm using these hot staples. They come in a variety of configurations, as you can see here. So you just insert the staple into the hot staple gun, pull the trigger, and then after a while the actual staple heats up, and you can use that to join between two pieces of plastic, as you can see here. Once the hot staple is in place, I like to use a blunt tool just to squash the molten plastic around the staple itself. And here's the first join done. Like normal metal welding, you just continue around the join until the job is complete. So once all the hot staples are in place, just use a cutter to trim off the excess bit of the staple itself, or you can use a grinder with a cut-off wheel. Just be careful not to cut your plastic and make more work for yourself. So now that the hot staples have been installed over the joints on the back of the cover, I'm using a hot soldering iron on the front of the cover over each joint to get rid of any gaps. So here's the front cover with the fusion welds all done. It should now be structurally sound. I'm now going to use a DA sander just to smooth all the surfaces down and remove any high areas. As the cover isn't native to this engine, I've had to fabricate new brackets to hold them in place using recycled parts from the old Beetle engine. So I'm currently fitting the left side bracket. So in the same fashion, I've fabricated this bracket from recycled parts to fit on the right side of the cover. This bolts onto the engine lifting point with holes that I drilled off camera. And again, as this cover isn't native to this engine, I had to cut off the original fixture points and weld them back in appropriate locations. The cover now snaps in place perfectly and it's nice and solid, as you can see. So to remove the irregularities in the surface of this part and prepare it for paint, I'm going to be using a purpose plastic filler and then various grades of sanding paper and filler, starting from very coarse paper to fine paper, to eventually get to the surface that's suitable for painting. So even after the first pass, you can see here that some of the imperfections are starting to go and the surface is evening out quite a fair bit. So off camera, I painted a couple of coats of plastic primer filler. I'm now applying a very light dust coat of matte black paint to act as a dust coat. This dust coat will then allow the high and low areas to be seen once you sand down the surface with a flat block. This is the result after 5 sessions of filling, sanding, priming and guide coat. The surface is looking pretty good now. There are a few small imperfections, but I'm going to leave it here for now. So great result today. Managed to knock off quite a few things off my to-do list. The rear brakes, I just need to finish off the handbrake cable, but I'll get to that when I get to the rear suspension. The front radiator fan brackets are all good, done, in place. Now I can see where the paths available for the coolant hoses are, so hopefully there's no further modification required in that area. And as far as plastic bodywork goes, yeah, it just takes a long time. The engine cover's 99% done. I'll just finish the rest off later because I have got some other parts in the engine bay that also need bodywork and finishing. Now, as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends.